Ralph Lauren Christmas, the Christmas trend that gained traction, popularity, and controversy starting in about mid October. And what began as an appreciation for a holiday aesthetic quickly turned into something that's become quite polarizing. There's been a lot of gatekeeping, eye rolling, and honestly, some pretentiousness. And so today we are going to talk about Ralph Lauren Christmas. Yes, we're going to talk about some of the overconsumption aspects today, or some of the consumerism of this trend, which there is quite a bit of, and specifically the gatekeeping and like why people are disagreeing about Ralph Lauren Christmas really is a bit of the point here. Not because of like it's fun to cover drama or people are being stupid, not at all, but some of this controversy really is about class and also factors into the consumption. It is worth saying before we get into it that I do not have a problem with the look of the aesthetic itself, nor somebody's interest in the aesthetic. This is not a critique of your love of velvet. And this is not a critique of you for liking this aesthetic or finding it aesthetic. So if you're wondering, what the heck is Ralph Lauren Christmas? I think it's going to be better to see it than for me to describe it. So I'll show you some examples of like collages people have put together for their interpretations of Ralph Lauren Christmas. I personally see it as traditional Christmas, but with money or like with like luxury, maybe even like a late 90s, early 2000s kind of vibe to it in some cases. It has the traditional colors of red and green for Christmas, but in the deeper variety or in like the deeper shades or tones. There's velvet going on. And some of the like styling of the Ralph Lauren stores that people are specifically highlighting do have a lot of dark woods or like rich leathers, which is like a specific vibe as well, which then plays into the Ralph Lauren Christmas and the whole like deep tone that kind of has it going on. So like these club chairs as an example are not necessarily Ralph Lauren Christmas, but Ralph Lauren Christmas is like featured in homes like this, if that makes sense. There's a lot of velvet, dark plaids as well. If you're seeing these videos and you're hearing me describe it and you're thinking, well, Shauna, isn't that just traditional Christmas? That is a bit of the controversy. I think when some people hear the term Ralph Lauren Christmas, they hear this name that's new to them. And so I think people expected something new or something that they haven't seen before, not a specific aesthetic or version of Christmas that one might be deeply familiar with. And deeply familiar, I mean, perhaps you've seen them growing up or you've seen versions of this in TV and movies and those kinds of things. This aesthetic does have a particular look, but it's not new. There is a bit of pretentiousness and gatekeeping over this exact thing. Some people saying it's just traditional Christmas, and other people saying that, yeah, it plays into the traditional Christmas or it's a type of traditional Christmas, but there are finer details that are present in Ralph Lauren Christmas that are not in traditional Christmas. And there are people out there telling other people they're just not refined enough to see the details and the difference. And I'm going to show you some examples.
Just trying to start a conversation in regards to the Ralph Lauren Christmas of it all. I fear that the people who say that the Ralph Lauren Christmas aesthetic is just traditional Christmas are not the most detail-oriented people. They're probably not going to be the people who pick up on the finer workings of a style like that. And that is no offense to you at all, because not everybody's brain works that way. And we need that. We need people to see the big picture and not always get caught up on the little details, right? We need people of all kinds. But when you look at the Ralph Lauren aesthetic, just because it's red and green does not equal traditional, okay? Traditional is a very broad term. Yes, it has red and green. Yes, it has plaids. Yes, it has greenery. But when you look at the Ralph Lauren aesthetic, more than like one or two photos or videos, you see it is a very specific kind of plaid. It is specific shades of red and green. It is specific kinds of greenery and placements of greenery. Specific things are not there. There's not a lot of that more commercialized decorations that could still fit under traditional Christmas. Here's the thing. If you think I'm going to decorate my house traditional style and you just go with that, you're not going to end up with a Ralph Lauren aesthetic.
I fear we've lost the plot. This is Ralph Lauren. Like, quite literally. This is Ralph Lauren Christmas. It's not the bears. If you have the bear on your sweater, if you have a polo sweater, fine. Put the bears back. We need to bring it back to basics. And you might not like what I'm going to say, but it needs to be said. Everything is very concise. Okay? Less is more. If you really want to buy something, invest in your wrapping paper. Okay? We're not doing Christmas bags. Invest in nice wrapping paper. Get 2, maybe 3 different ones. I always have a separate one for my daughter and kids. And then I have one for my husband and then one for family. Anyway, invest in wrapping paper. See the roses? See the crystal? It's not cheesy. Okay, it's classy. You're not going to use any gift bags. Everything's going to be wrapped.
Invest in wrapping paper. It's not cheesy, it's classy. Wrapping paper is not an investment of any kind. Investing in wrapping paper, like this video does scream like I'm rich or poor. And the only way to do this is if you have money. It's like a little bit, I'm not going to finish that sentence. Wrapping paper is not an investment. What I think she means is spend more money on wrapping paper than what you might traditionally, or maybe allocate more of your Christmas budget to wrapping paper than you might traditionally, which is still crazy because wrapping paper is something that you tear open. It's single use. The whole it's not cheesy, it's classy thing is just honestly, I feel like taking a shot at people who are going to TJ Maxx to buy their Ralph Lauren Christmas things. Like, no, your TJ Maxx finds are not good enough. Put the bears down, sweetheart. Okay? Like, let the grown-ups do it. The whole tone of this video is really off-putting and is ultimately a you're not doing it right. Here's the way to do it. We're not done yet, and I promise you, this serves a point. This person says, if you're going to do it, at least do it right. I'll put the smaller portion of the clip here.
Now, I don't condone switching your Christmas decor every year, but if you feel the need to do the Ralph Lauren Christmas aesthetic, at least do it right. I don't have many credentials, but I do live in the South. I love spending people's money that's not mine, and I am a graphic designer, so I do know how brand guidelines work. Every brand has a set of rules, so these are the rules I would be following if I wanted to do the Ralph Lauren Christmas.
There was a girl who made a video talking about this aesthetic and liking it, which I'm not going to play that clip here because people are being jerks to her, honestly. And there's a lot of it. She said the name Ralph Lauren instead of Ralph Lauren. And there were a lot of people dogpiling on her. This woman, like in her video on Ralph Lauren aesthetic, decided to make a comment about it, as many other people have done. She's not the only one.
Everyone is talking about Ralph Lauren Christmas, and while he is my all-time favorite designer, home and fashion-wise, I feel like I have to weigh in on this one. Oh, and it's Ralph Lauren, not Ralph Lauren. He's American. Ralph Lauren.
The name pronunciation bothers me a lot. I wasn't going to go on this tangent, but I decided to do it because I rewatched that clip, and it's bit like mean girl behavior. But traditionally or typically, I would say, if we're talking about a person's name and somebody mispronounces their name, I think in many contexts, it can be polite to correct the person. I mean, if it's your name, or like if you know that, like, I don't know, maybe you're at a function and you said a name wrong and you go like, hey, I think you pronounced their name, or you pronounced their name like this, I think there's a time and a place for that, because calling somebody by their name, their correct name, is like a respectful thing to do. However, when it comes to brands aren't people. Ralph Lauren is not actually the name of Ralph Lauren. And the function of it here and the way of like calling it out publicly, along with the tone of it, it's not really about accuracy. It's a way to assert superiority over other people. And this context, I think it's an extra way to put a line. And it's a line between people who have the refined taste and who get it and people who don't. It's like it's turning pronunciation into a marker of belonging and even class potentially. And I think I would probably go as far to say that this is class gatekeeping disguised as etiquette. Ralph Lauren as a brand has played into this like heritage aspect, Americana, even like a timelessness of Ralph Lauren. And people, I think, associate this look as well as Ralph Lauren with a timelessness, which is actually not true. I actually watched a video, and this woman inherited her mom's Ralph Lauren sweater collection, and a lot of the designs are things that would not be made today for taste reasons, but also because climate has changed around using things like travel print. So when people police how the name is said, they're like policing who can participate and who's allowed to belong to this fantasy. In my opinion, it's not really about brand identity anymore, which is like a fantasy in and of itself. It's about asserting one's own place in this social hierarchy that is centered around consumption. I want to now play you the video that's probably the most popular video of this genre. And this is a person who has formerly worked at Ralph Lauren asserting the style rules of Ralph Lauren itself.
Oh, Ralph Lauren Christmas, huh? Let's go. I was a second generation Ralph Lauren employee. My mom did merchandising and she opened the collection store on the plaza in Kansas City in the 80s. And I designed dresses at Ralph Lauren in New York for a really long time before I launched my own direct-to-consumer women's clothing brand. Anyways, okay, Christmas, Ralph Lauren style. Let's offend some people. And if you don't like these rules, you really would not have liked working at Ralph Lauren. And that's why everything looks so good, because everything is so completely concise. Bright green garland of any kind. No. What else? 3 basic types of plaids. Traditional Christmas plaid. Then you're going to have like the blue woven plaid. And then you're going to have the black watch red and black plaid, something you would think more for like ski season, ski house. Do not mix those plaids, okay? You're not going to see those in the same room. Each room is a different plaid. Do not mix those plaids. They don't play together. This leads me to my next point. What goes under the Christmas tree? We could maybe mix a few plaids of the same shade under the Christmas tree. We are not letting people bring their own wrapping paper and put presents under your tree. This goes high-low. No bags, boxes, wrapped boxes. No bags, no gift bags. If someone brings a gift over to your house and you feel like you have to display it, it goes behind the tree. Concise, consistent wrapping paper. The same goes for Ralph Lauren Christmas in the opposite end. Orange bags? No. Chanel bags? No. Wrap it. Wrap it in one pattern, or one pattern and then the inverse of the same pattern with the same ribbon color on every single package. No overhead light anywhere. Maybe you have a chandelier that could have some sort of tiny lampshades, which we're going to swap out for red. Other than that, you want to have a Ralph Lauren Christmas at your house? I don't want to see a single overhead light on. Turn it off. Let's talk holiday signage. No signage. None. No ho ho ho. No swirly, twirly. That is not a Ralph Lauren Christmas. It's not the same party. If you want a Ralph Lauren Christmas, we're speaking Merry Christmas. We're speaking ho ho ho. We're not printing it on a sign. We're not looking it on a wall. We're speaking Merry Christmas.
I was literally waiting for her to say, we're speaking ho ho ho. Could you imagine you're like a holiday mixer, and someone's like, ho ho ho. The most insane thing about this is the whole gift bag thing. Like, if you must display your gift bag, it goes at the back of the tree. Or like if you must display a present that somebody else brought. Could you genuinely imagine? Like, let's say you're going over to your parents' house. If your parents were like, listen, you are not allowed to use your own wrapping paper. We're going to supply you with the wrapping paper we're going to need. Or you're going to go out to the store and you're going to go buy this one type of wrapping paper and that's it. Otherwise, don't bring gifts over to our house. What I think the disconnect here is that she is talking about design rules for a store. And she's talking about merchandising and brand identity and brand rules for a store and a brand and telling people to do these things directly for your home. You are not a store. Your home is not a store, nor do you have a merchandiser or like your home isn't merchandised and does not need to be merchandised. And you are also not Ralph Lauren. Transplanting these rules and these design aesthetics directly into the home with no modification, I think is wild. Maybe the ultra wealthy have like one wrapping paper or wrap everybody's gifts or do this kind of thing. Like maybe, but like I don't know any ultra wealthy people, so I cannot confirm or deny. Like maybe this is happening somewhere. Okay, stores have like entire merchandising teams. So we're talking about a big store, which we are. We're not talking about a small business. We're talking about a big store, a corporation. Big brands will have a merchandising department or section of the company that develops the rules and the guidelines. They develop what like the table displays or just like whatever it is, it's somebody's job to do that. And then in store, Ralph Lauren aside, most stores have a merchandiser. Sometimes a big enough store will have a job role that's dedicated to merchandising, where other stores, I worked at a store that did not have a merchandiser. They just had one or two people who had alternative roles. And part of their role, I should say, was merchandiser. I was a merchandiser for a store many years ago. Me and somebody else are merchandisers, and you'd get the PDF and these these guidelines would come out like probably every 2 weeks, sometimes once a month, really depends. And there were guidelines for everything, for mannequin displays and for register wraps, like what it would look like at the register, for shoes or specific walls. Like they had different guidelines for something hanging on a rack, a table, a wall, what goes where, how it looks. In the store that I worked at, there's 3 formats: small format, medium format, and large format. I was in a small format store. So the PDF, let's say in fall, there were 30 new sweaters that the brand wanted to feature, or the company wanted to feature. Maybe it was like 2 or 3 sweaters in a bunch of different colors. The large format store might display all 30, the medium might display 15, and the small might display maybe 7. And they would tell you exactly which sweaters were to be featured, in which colorways, even if you had more than what would be displayed. Like they had guidelines for everything. The reason why merchandisers exist is to help the store look consistent depending on where you go, to help the brand or the company have a clear identity, and also to sell product, to make things look the most appealing so people want to buy the items. And I'm sure as well to, have or provide or be part of a positive customer experience. You're not serving customers in your home. You are not a brand with an identity that you need to curate or manage. I think the best way to do this, if you are interested in Ralph Lauren Christmas, is to take inspiration from the things that you're seeing and not use it directly. And also to consider the aesthetic of your home, like the way that it looks, and also the other stuff that you have. If you have blue and silver and you typically like cool tones, but you really like Ralph Lauren Christmas, taking the entirety of Ralph Lauren Christmas may not work for your home, or more importantly than that, your interests. Because if you just take Ralph Lauren Christmas for what it is and you put it into your home, if it doesn't actually match the kinds of things that you like, it's not going to last. Recreating something, I think, is the easiest way to get trapped in a cycle of consumption, but also recreating something doesn't really require you to critically think about your home, your life, your needs, your wants, your likes, your budget. You're outsourcing all of the thought to other people who may not have your best interest at heart, who may be trying to sell you things, who don't live in your home or your life. I think a lot of people don't actually want a Ralph Lauren Christmas. They want a Ralph Lauren inspired Christmas that's not 100% true to the brand identity of Ralph Lauren. A lot of people don't care about investing in wrapping paper or refusing to mix plaids. And you'll hear people, like, at least in some of them, saying, oh, this is like my take on it, or this is what this is what called to me. This is what, drew me into the aesthetic, or here's some finds that I'm finding at my store. And while there are certainly problems, which we will talk about buying all new decor every couple of years, your interpretation is not wrong. So why does this all matter? This matters because this is really, in my opinion, about class and a way to gatekeep class via aesthetics. People are genuinely upset about people calling this traditional Christmas or taking it very seriously. There are entire videos of people, making commentary about why this is not traditional Christmas, right? They're explaining the fabric choices and the color theory behind it, or people just being like, you have no taste, you can't see it. Or like the brand's American heritage or the quiet luxury aspects of it that like you just don't see. On one hand, these people are right that sure, Ralph Lauren Christmas does have a specific take or aesthetic to it that is not traditional Christmas.
People often ask, isn't Ralph Lauren Christmas just traditional Christmas? In some ways, yes, but that is exactly what makes it timeless. You'll be swapping plain red for plaid or tartan, swap shiny bows for velvet, no glitter. Instead, try to use brass, copper, and leather, and swap filler ornaments for ornaments that have a history. The best part about this is that you probably already own a lot of what you need with greens and reds.
It has maybe like a specific design language. There's a whole world built around that brand's version of Americana, prep school privilege, equestrian leisure, an old money fantasy. It's a fantasy. But people are defending this in a way that feels like taste is the stand-in for class. When somebody insists this isn't traditional, it's elevated or refined, or there is these specific details, they're signaling that this version of Christmas isn't for everyone. It's for people who get it and who can afford to participate at a certain level. Taste becomes a coded way to say this is for us, and that us is almost always defined by money, access, and cultural capital. And that's why this conversation or this back and forth feels a little bit more different than somebody just liking or not liking the aesthetic. It's not really about like velvet ribbons or specific kinds of class. It's about asserting status through like style literacy or aesthetic literacy. People literally get to define who's doing it right, what the right way of doing Ralph Lauren Christmas. And it's also not good enough to do Ralph Lauren inspired Christmas. People are really trying to create exclusivity around Ralph Lauren Christmas. And so I argue that it's not misidentifying an aesthetic, it's challenging a class hierarchy. There is a lot of interest in this aesthetic. So much interest. And we're going to get to the overconsumption of it all. The buy this, here's what you're going to buy, right? There's a certain kind of person who saw that this was trending and then immediately went and capitalized on it, encouraging people to buy stuff. So that's for later. But I now want to talk about why so many people may be interested in this aesthetic, and this absolutely is related to class, as well as other things. And I'm going to show you 2 TikToks. I'm going to play them back to back because they work so nicely together and they like reinforce some core concepts. And so I think it's better to have these fresh in our memories together.
This is why you're obsessed with the Ralph Lauren Christmas psyop. The answer starts with an N, but before we get into that, how do you feel when you look at a room like this? If you said warm, I will accept. If you said cozy, I will accept. If you said traditional, I will accept. Now, all these words coincide with a bunch of other trending buzzwords that were floating around between the last year or so, including a movement that shall not be named. If you know, you know. And yes, Ralph Lauren Christmas and this very nostalgic energy that it is pushing, throwing out to you makes so much sense for what is going on in the world today, of course. Like, yes, Christmas does that anyway, but all these evocative feelings of like, yes, this is going to be the way that I end out my year with a nice warm hug and the smell of like Christmas sugar cookies and hot chocolate and like all those other things. The deep, rich, warm colors. These are not sterile. Those same colors being reflected.
This feels like comfort. I think maybe comforting is a feeling I'm getting through these images.
In the plaid, which signals tradition, longevity, what came before. It feels stable, it feels rooted, it feels like hearth, it feels like family, it feels like being surrounded by support systems that you are trusting in. Add in a teddy bear. What else do you start to feel? Nostalgia is such a strong emotion. It's why you go back to your exes. It's why you do cheat days. It's why you go back to school, and the list goes on and on and on. So what happens when you apply that to marketing and the social media echo chamber that you are indulging in? How do you get that? What do you do? How do you get there? Well, for starters, you should be looking into what plaid you're going to be using this year.
Video number 2.
You do not want a Ralph Lauren Christmas. You want the middle class back, preferably the upper middle class. You want Home Alone. Home Alone felt safe. It felt comfortable. It felt like a good economy. Because you can't have that, you think you can buy your way into that nostalgic feeling. But what will always be missing from these traditional old money Ralph Lauren Christmases is a good economy. It's trying to figure out what Kevin McAllister's dad was doing for a living and doing it ourselves. It's having the McAllister's house not be changed into a gray and white box, but stay that classic father of the bride, late 90s, early 2000s rom-com like traditional home. So no matter how many plaids you purchase, or how many Terrans, what did that lady pop color say? I think she called it a Terran, something like that. No matter how many any of that you purchase, wreaths, weird looking Christmas trees that have those infrared lights that cause fires, the economy's bad. You're not getting the middle class back, and that's what you're looking for. That's the nostalgia.
These ladies hit the nail on the head. These images are, as Ashley, the first creator, is saying, they're comforting. They are nostalgia. Nostalgia is such a powerful emotion. I've covered this on the channel a few times and how this can, encourage us to buy things, to experience nostalgia. It's ultimately like marketing or a concept or an idea or a trend that encourages this feeling within us. I think the most recent video I did was on 90s nostalgia. That was maybe September. It was a fun video. If you want to kind of dive more into that topic. Nostalgia is being sold to us. Purchase your way into stability. Purchase your way into comfort. And then Davin, our second creator, she highlights that even more clearly. Like the first creator talks about the emotional appeal as well as, some of the effects of that. And then Davin kind of takes that and shows us, or highlights, I should say, how this encourages us to shop. Some of this desire as well is coming from people's desire to be the middle class, and for the middle class or the upper middle class to have the purchasing power and the lifestyle that they once had. If you were a child in the 90s, and your parents were middle class, you can have fond memories of that, which goes into the nostalgia. Or maybe regardless of whether you were middle class or not, I think in the 90s, being middle class felt more attainable. And so I'm going to illustrate a point to you. I have a few graphs for you. These are all American because we're talking about American brands. We're talking about Home Alone. We're talking about a lot of American creators here. So the middle class is indeed shrinking. And between 1971 and 2020, the class breakdown has shifted. So 1971, approximately 25% of the population in the US was lower income, 61% middle income, and 14% upper income. There are more people in the upper income category as well as the lower income category. So the middle income category has shifted both ways. What is also interesting is what the income was of said class during each of these survey points. So upper income in 1970 was about $130,000. Today, $219,000. Middle income, 59, almost 60,000 in 1970. Middle income in 2020, about 90,000. Lower income in 1970 is 20,000, and in 2020, just shy of 30,000. You'll see the precise numbers on the screen. Well, yes, all groups have increased their wealth. The lower income group has increased the least, which means that the lowest income group are now poorer than they were in 1971. Most especially given the cost of living, which is kind of the point. And yes, as well, the percentage of the middle income group has shrunk, with some moving up and down, but what you can get for that income is vastly different in 2020 or 2025 versus 1970. According to NASDAQ in 1990, the median middle class income was $68,856 and rose to $90,000 or just more than that in 2020. The almost $70,000 income would be equivalent to just over $136,000 in 2020. Income increases have not risen with the pace of inflation, as I'm sure you know. And in real terms, what this means is that the average middle class household in 2020 had far less spending power than a middle class household did 30 years earlier. And 5 years have gone by since this survey, and that is even more true today. You don't need these numbers to tell you what you already know and what you are already experiencing. The point of showing you these numbers is to show that even for folks who are middle class today, are not having the same experience, are not having the same buying or spending power as their 1990 counterparts. So when you put this all together, nostalgia being sold back to us, people chasing even a small sense of comfort in a time when stability feels harder to afford, it makes sense that this aesthetic hits such a nerve. For a lot of people, Ralph Lauren Christmas isn't just about the look, it's about recreating a feeling, something familiar, safe, and idealized. But what's happening online is that as soon as people reach for that feeling, someone else steps in and says, no, you're not doing it right. No, that version doesn't count. No, you don't understand the details. And that kind of response stings because it's confirming something people already feel, that their money doesn't go as far anymore, that the sense of ease and comfort they're chasing might really be out of reach. It's not just gatekeeping taste, it's stomping on people's attempts to find joy or magic in a world that feels a little emptier of both. It's not just about being priced out, it's that this gatekeeping punctures the fantasy people are reaching for. People are being told they can't have it. That's why this matters. Let's now talk about the overconsumption of it all. I don't know if it's lighter or not, but it feels a little lighter to me. And also just a moment, just like a small, capture our breath, moment. I wanted to be a little bit festive today, but not super festive, so I wore my red sweater. And my red sweater had 2 big stains on it for several weeks, and I attempted multiple times to get out the stain. It did take 3 weeks, but I did it. I finally removed the stains. What felt like impossible. The sweater did fade a little bit, but I'm feeling like I am you can't fuck with me, okay? You can't stain my shirts. No, ma'am. When you do something, even if it's small, it just makes you feel so accomplished. That's how I'm feeling in my shirt. So, I wanted to share that with you. Okay, back to the video. We have a lot of videos like this one. I'll show you multiple as we go through. This one says, if this is your vibe, run to Walmart. No, ma'am. We are not running to Walmart for Christmas decor of any kind. There's another one. It's like Ralph Lauren Christmas inspo. There are tons of these videos that are specifically like Ralph Lauren Christmas inspo at Hobby Lobby or at TJ Maxx. This person says, if you want to participate in a Ralph Lauren Christmas, but you don't want to spend a lot of money, here's what to buy.
If you'd like to take part in the viral Ralph
This person says, we've decided on a Ralph Lauren Christmas this year. Here's what we bought.
So we decided on a Ralph Lauren Christmas this year, which is just a traditional Christmas. And this is what called out to me. These are the colors and patterns that we're going to be using.
You'll see more. Like there's tons of these videos. There are tons of people who hustle their heinies to the store because they got excited by this trend, or this trend primed them to shop, right? Like if we're watching consuming or consumption as entertainment, it keeps us in this constant state of like, what else? Or keeping us in this constant state of desire, or, you know, the normalcy of shopping. So people are going out shopping, showing their hauls, or even implying that they've bought decor, no real way to know if they did or not, or just overall encouraging you to go buy the decor. This creator says, apparently it's Ralph Lauren Christmas. I'll play the clip, just a couple seconds of it.
Apparently it's a Ralph Lauren Christmas, and I'm going to show you how I'm decorating my house and how you can get the look.
This to me is like, oh, Ralph Lauren Christmas is trending this year, so here's what I'm going to buy for it. The Ralph Lauren Christmas aesthetic is trending to such a degree that people are being influenced by it. Whether it's the FOMO or like, you know, wanting to participate in something that other people are, wanting to see what all the hype is about, or getting excited about it because it really speaks to your design aesthetic. Whatever reason, people are being influenced to shop by this trend. My problem is not you liking Ralph Lauren Christmas. We would be having this discussion of this specific segment of the video. Whether it was Pink Pony Christmas, or Tony the Tiger Christmas, or Labubu Christmas, or Barbie Christmas, or Tony Hawk Christmas. Like, it don't matter. Really, that's kind of the point. Buying new home decor because you're seeing it everywhere, the virality and the abundance of it makes us feel like the thing that we're seeing is important and culturally relevant, which can rub off on us. The more we see something, the more we can want it. Or you're just in your most excitable state because you really like what you're seeing, and then you go out and you shop when you're in your most excitable state. This is like one of the most dangerous ways or reasons to shop.
Okay, I did some damage at Home Goods and Michael's. Like, I got a ton of Christmas stuff. I need to decorate my studio, and this is the vibe that I'm going for, like a Ralph Lauren moody jewel-toned Christmas.
When this happens to me, because it just happens from time to time, it reinforces this idea that seeing something enough times makes me interested in the thing. The messaging in these videos is not appreciate the style, it's buy things to belong. Or we can feel that way ourselves. This is the pattern we see over and over again. And people have the habit, you yourself may have the habit, see something enough times, spark an interest by the thing. We're in early November now, and we've already seen trends come and go this year. Like the Weck jars, Labubus are already, like people are already selling their Labubus. You know, like the TJ Maxx beaded bags, we're already decluttering those. So this is the cycle. This is like a huge part of why my channel exists, is that we develop these habits of recreating these cycles that are bad for our wallets, that are bad for our mental health, that are bad for our homes, that are bad for the planet. You know, something goes viral or becomes popular, there's a rush of people to capitalize on it, to encourage people to buy it, to go out and just go buy all of this stuff, right? Because it's popular. And then suddenly this becomes like a directive to buy things. Okay, so we're going to put our voice of reason caps on. Do we need a physical? You know what? We're going to put a physical hat on. It's not sitting properly because I have a bun on. You know what? For the love of the video, it looks funny, but like, here we go. This was I think there's like, I think you can see here, this got sun damaged. It used to hang up on my walls. The only reason why it's not up on my wall is because I've been lazy. It's been sitting on top of my book boxes that are not unpacked yet. It's been living here 3 months, 4 months, whatever. Okay, critical thinking caps are on. The de-influencing caps are on, okay? Go and put on your hat too. I don't know, this is like so unserious, but sometimes I feel like if we take ourselves too seriously, like, of course, this is a serious subject, but if we take ourselves too seriously, it's just like not good, you know? It's not that I don't care. I just want to have a little bit of fun and playfulness as we de-influence. It doesn't always need to be serious. Do you have home decor already? Because you're wearing your cap, you must be honest. You cannot lie. Imagine imagine you've had a truth serum, okay? Or whatever like bookish trope might appeal to you. You can't lie here. This is the circle of truth. Do you already have Christmas decor? Yes? All right. Let's think about the decor that you already have. Do you like it? What do you think about it? Let's tune out all the noise here. What do you think about it? Does it work? Does it function? Does it fit in your space? How did you feel when you first bought it? Is it still serving its purpose? Is there something wrong with it? Right? Like, I can understand. Maybe you've used a tree for too many a year and it's raggedy, or your dog chewed it, or your child pulled some branches off, or maybe some Christmas bulbs broke, or something happened. You lost something in a move. I can get that there may be a time and a place for getting some new decor. But with your critical thinking cap on, is this the time? Is it really the time? Do you have room to display new decor? Would you have to declutter something in order to make room for new decor? Where would you store the new decor that you're interested in? That not having storage space is one of the main reasons why I don't personally get decor. When it comes to Ralph Lauren Christmas specifically, do you like velvet? Do you like gold? Do you like these deep, dark greens and blues? Something can be aesthetic or pretty. It can be visually appealing. But that doesn't actually mean that you like it for yourself, right? We've been there, right? Maybe think about something a category that you really like. I'll think about clothes. I've seen sweaters or tops that are nice, they're very cute, but they just don't fit into my personal style or the life that I live. Same thing is true here. Or like you can like an eyeshadow palette. I used to get hooked on this all the time. I would like a color story of an eyeshadow palette, but when it came to actually using it, I would never wear those colors. Would you want red and green and gold in your home? Would you want lampshades like the things that people are going? Do you want greenery in your home? Do you have a place to put it? If you are interested in the Ralph Lauren aesthetic decor, could you see yourself pulling out this decor every year for the next 10 years? I personally don't think decor should last shorter than that. We should keep decor for longevity. Christmas is one of the most nostalgic seasons as well, which I think is part of why all of this nostalgia is happening around the Christmas, or it's extra strong. So it can be extra nostalgic to pull out this tree year after year, pull out this decor year after year. I have memories of my grandmother. She had this Christmas village she was famous for. Loved going to her house and seeing it. My parents, when I was younger, they had this tree that had ornaments on it that were, a lot of it were stuff that my mom inherited, but also that my brother and I made when we were kids. There are numerous handmade cardboard frames and stuff that have our pictures in it. Like, that tree is eclectic, but it's so nostalgic because it's my childhood tree. I don't know if my parents still have it. The last that I checked, they do. I would take it. I would take all those ornaments so I could put them up. And when we see stuff online, we can get so caught up in the beauty and the aesthetic of it all. But when we fade that out and we turn it down and we step into our own lives, I think a lot of people realize that the stuff that we have is pretty great. And it's only a real crime is not being new. The issue is how easily trends can nudge people into spending money and buying things that they don't actually like, want, or use. And this is especially pertinent in a financially stressful time. Instead of people buying decor that they're going to like and use for long periods of time, again, it's not a crime to buy home decor that you're going to use for years. We're not encouraging people to do that, to buy things that they'll like and own for years. People are being encouraged to consume in a way that's reactive instead of reflective. The maybe most frustrating or sad thing about this is the nostalgia and people trying to shop their way out of discomfort or problems, which is a habit that consumerism has encouraged within us potentially for our whole lives. Or not just to shop our way out of discomfort, but to shop our way into nostalgia. Buying things to fix our problems, buying things to fix how we feel. This is another example of that. And for those already feeling like their money doesn't stretch as far, this is a double blow. You're watching this idealized version of Christmas, something that once felt familiar and achievable, become another lifestyle trend you have to spend to participate in. Nostalgia gets commercialized, emotions get commodified, and the end result is that people are left with more stuff but less satisfaction. Influencers may have the money to do this year after year and be financially okay, but is that your position? While that doesn't make this habit okay, it means that you will experience drastically different effects and consequences by taking the same or similar action. So this is everything for me today. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you enjoyed hearing my take on Ralph Lauren Christmas. Again, I really want to emphasize that if you like Ralph Lauren Christmas, cool. No qualms with you. No beef. Thank you so much for watching and hope to see you again around here soon for a new video. Bye.